Hello everyone, and welcome to my Young and the Restless Official 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Shockwaves ripple through the Newman family when Victoria discovers Cole's last letter, a revelation that unravels not only her understanding of the past but also the very identities of Claire and Matt, the two people she thought she had finally come to trust. It begins innocently enough, a rainy morning at the Newman ranch, where Victoria is cleaning out one of the old cedar chests in the attic. She's searching for keepsakes from her youth, hoping to find a bit of peace amid the storm of recent family scandals. But as she lifts a stack of faded photos and letters, a yellowed envelope slips from between the pages of an old novel, its edges worn, its ink faint, yet the name written in familiar handwriting sends a chill through her veins, to Victoria. If you're reading this, the truth can no longer stay buried. It's Cole's handwriting. The man she loved, the man she lost, the father of the daughter she was told was gone forever. Her hands tremble as she breaks the fragile seal. What she reads inside doesn't just take her breath away, it changes everything she thought she knew about her life, her daughter, and the people living under her roof. Cole's letter is not one of love or farewell, it's a confession. Written in desperation, it outlines the twisted truth behind Claire's birth, the deception that tore them apart, and the unspeakable act that forced him into hiding. Victoria, the letter begins, "They told us our baby died, but that was the first lie. I uncovered something terrible, a plan involving your father, and someone else, someone closer to you than you could imagine." Victoria's heart pounds as she reads on, her eyes scanning the words that cut like knives. Cole describes a cover-up orchestrated by someone within the Newman orbit, someone who wanted control, not love. He writes that their child, their precious baby girl, was taken and replaced by another infant, the real Claire being sent away to protect her from a war of power and revenge. If you ever find this letter, Cole concludes, know that the daughter you lost is alive, and that her name might not be the one you think. The letter slips from Victoria's fingers as she gasps for air, the weight of Cole's revelation crushing her. Her mind races, Claire. Could it be true? Could her long-lost daughter, the child she mourned for decades, be alive and under her very nose all this time? The thought sends her spiraling. She recalls Claire's uncanny connection to her, the strange emotional pull she's always felt. Every shared glance, every hesitation, every tear suddenly seems loaded with new meaning. But Cole's warning about another name gnaws at her. What did he mean? Who is Claire really? And who is this someone closer he mentioned? Before she can process the full magnitude, Victoria's instincts kick in. She rushes downstairs, clutching the letter in her hand, her face pale as ash. Nikki spots her from across the living room and immediately senses something's wrong. "Victoria, sweetheart, what is it?" she asks, her voice trembling with maternal concern. But Victoria can barely form the words. "Mother, it's Cole. His letter, it says Claire's not who we think she is." The room freezes. Nikki's jaw tightens, she's seen that look before, the look Victoria gets when her entire world has just shattered. "What do you mean?" Nikki whispers. But Victoria only hands her the letter and walks away, unable to speak, her mind a tornado of memories, suspicions, and pain. Meanwhile, at Newman Enterprises, Claire and Matt are in the middle of their own emotional confrontation. Matt, who has recently returned to Genoa City under a cloud of mystery, seems nervous, distracted by secrets he's not ready to share. Claire senses it. She's been trying to build a new life, to redeem herself after the trauma of discovering the truth about Aunt Jordan and her twisted manipulation. Yet Matt's distance unsettles her. "You've been quiet all morning," she presses gently. "Is something wrong?" Matt hesitates, his gaze darting toward her with conflicted intensity. "Claire," he murmurs, "there's something you need to know, something about your family." But before he can finish, Victoria storms into the office, her eyes wild, her voice shaking with fury and disbelief. "Is it true?" she demands, slamming Cole's letter onto the desk. Claire blinks, startled. What is that?" she stammers. "Don't play innocent." Victoria snaps, her emotions boiling over. "This letter, it's from your father, from Cole. He wrote that the baby we lost wasn't lost at all. He said you were taken, replaced. Who are you, Claire? Who are you really? Claire's face drains of color. The room falls silent except for the rhythmic pounding of Victoria's heartbeat in her ears. Matt rises from his chair, his expression unreadable. Victoria, he begins cautiously, maybe we should sit down, but Victoria cuts him off. No. No more secrets. No more lies. Tell me the truth right now, both of you. Tears fill Claire's eyes as she steps forward. I swear, I didn't know, she whispers, her voice trembling. I thought I was your daughter, I wanted to be your daughter. Her words slice through Victoria like glass. Wanted to be? Victoria repeats, her tone laced with suspicion. Matt exhales deeply, his shoulders sagging under the weight of years of deceit. Victoria, Cole wasn't lying, he says at last. But you need to understand, it wasn't just your father or Jordan. There was someone else, someone working in the shadows to protect the Newman legacy. Victoria's eyes narrow. Who, she demands. Matt hesitates, his gaze flicking toward Claire. Her real name isn't Claire Grace, he says finally, his voice almost a whisper. It's Catherine Cole. Cole's daughter with another woman. The girl you lost, the real baby you and Cole had, was switched at birth. Victoria staggers back as the world tilts. No, she murmurs, clutching her chest. That's impossible. But deep down, something inside her knows the truth, knows that the ache in her heart, the lingering sense that something was always off, wasn't madness but intuition. The woman she has welcomed as her daughter may be Cole's child, but not hers. So who am I then? Claire cries out, desperation overtaking her composure. If I'm not your daughter, then who am I? Matt looks at her with sadness in his eyes. You're the daughter of the woman Cole loved before Victoria, he says quietly. But when Cole and Victoria's baby died, or so they were told, someone at the hospital arranged to give you to the wrong family. Jordan found out and used the truth to manipulate everyone. Victoria's legs nearly buckle beneath her as she processes the horrifying chain of events. The woman she thought was her enemy, Jordan, wasn't the only mastermind. The rot ran deeper, into the corridors of the Newman Empire itself. Nikki, who has followed Victoria to the office after reading the letter, steps in just in time to hear the confession. Her face goes pale. Dear God, she gasps, this is Victor's doing, isn't it? The room falls into heavy silence. Victoria looks at her mother, the accusation hanging in the air like thunderclouds. He knew, Victoria whispers. He must have known. He had to know the baby wasn't gone, that there was a switch. Nikki's lips tremble, her eyes filling with tears. Your father, he wanted to protect you. He thought if Cole knew, he'd take the child and run. He made choices, terrible choices, but he believed he was saving you. The air crackles with betrayal. Victoria's hands shake as she grips the edge of the desk. Saving me, she repeats, her voice breaking. He stole my child, Mother. He lied to all of us. He let me mourn a baby that was alive. And now, all these years later, I find out that the girl I've grown to love isn't even mine. She turns to Claire, her eyes softening for a brief, painful second. And you've been caught in all of this too. You didn't deserve any of it. Claire's tears spill over as she steps closer, her voice pleading. I didn't want to lie. I didn't know how deep it went. I just wanted a family. But before reconciliation can begin, Matt's next words ignite another explosion. There's more, he confesses, his voice heavy with guilt. I didn't come back to Genoa City for business, I came because I found Cole's second letter. He left it with me years ago, and in it, he named the person who helped Victor orchestrate the switch. Victoria stares at him in disbelief. Who, she demands. Matt hesitates, then looks directly at her. It was your brother, Nick. The revelation hits like a bomb. Nikki gasps audibly, covering her mouth. Victoria's eyes widen with fury and heartbreak. No, she whispers, Nick would never, but Matt's gaze is unwavering. He didn't know the full story, Matt explains. He was just a kid trying to protect you. Victor made him believe that lying about the baby was the only way to stop Cole from taking you and disappearing forever. Nick thought he was saving his sister from heartbreak. Victoria's voice cracks as she speaks. All these years. I thought my family was my foundation. And now I find out they've been building my life on lies. She slams her hand down on the desk, tears spilling freely. Cole tried to tell me. He tried to warn me. And now he's gone. Nikki reaches for her daughter, but Victoria steps back. Don't, she warns. Don't try to justify any of this. You all let me live in a nightmare. You let me bury a child that wasn't gone. You let me raise another woman's daughter under false pretenses. Claire sobs openly, clutching her heart. Victoria, please, I love you. You may not be my biological mother, but you're the only one who's ever truly cared. Victoria's anger melts into sorrow as she looks at the young woman before her, the one who had fought so hard to prove herself. And I do love you, she whispers brokenly. But I can't ignore the truth anymore. The tension in the room feels unbearable, every emotion, grief, betrayal, love, colliding in one tragic moment. As the storm rages outside, thunder rumbling across the city skyline, Nikki stands frozen between her daughter and granddaughter, realizing that Victor's sins have finally caught up with all of them. The letter in Victoria's hand is now a weapon, one that could destroy the Newman family from within. Matt, standing silently by the window, knows that the fallout is just beginning. Cole wanted the truth to come out, he says quietly. He believed that only honesty could heal what was broken. Victoria looks at him, her voice raw. Honesty? After decades of deceit? You think truth can fix this? But even as she speaks, a flicker of hope glimmers behind her pain. Perhaps this devastating revelation, the unmasking of Claire's true identity, the exposure of Matt's secret, could finally set them free from the cycle of lies that has haunted the Newmans for generations. Still, as Victoria clutches Cole's letter one last time, the rain pounding harder against the glass, she whispers to herself through trembling lips, "You were right, Cole. The truth couldn't stay buried. But now that it's out, I don't know if any of us will survive it." The next morning dawns with an eerie stillness, the kind that settles over a battlefield after the chaos of war. At the Newman Ranch, the storm from the night before has passed, but its echoes linger in every creak of the floor and every whisper of the wind. Victoria hasn't slept. She's been awake all night, sitting in her father's study, the letter from Cole clenched tightly in her hand like a piece of her own shattered heart. Every word of his confession haunts her, replaying in her mind on a merciless loop. They told us our baby died, they lied to keep control, your father was involved. She can't unhear it. She can't unfeel it. And now, she can't escape what must come next. When the grandfather clock in the corner strikes 8, she knows what she has to do. There will be no more secrets, no more pretending that ignorance is safety. Victor will answer for this. The heavy door swings open without a knock, a defiance she's never dared before, and there he stands behind his desk, the great Victor Newman, sipping coffee as if the world hasn't just collapsed around them. His eyes, sharp and calculating, flicker toward her. "Good morning, my dear," he greets calmly. "You're up early. Something on your mind?" Victoria slams Cole's letter down in front of him. "You can drop the act, Dad," she spits. "I know everything." Victor's hand stills midair. He doesn't touch the letter, doesn't flinch, but the faint tightening of his jaw betrays him. "Everything?" he repeats, his voice a low rumble. "Cole's letter," she says, her voice breaking. "He knew what you did. You switched my baby, you let me believe she was dead. You let me mourn a child that was alive." The silence that follows is suffocating. Victor exhales slowly, his eyes narrowing as he leans back in his chair. "Victoria," he begins carefully, "you don't understand the full picture." "No, don't you dare patronize me," she interrupts, her voice cracking under the strain. You lied to me, you lied to Cole, you lied to everyone. You played God with my life and my child's life. Nikki, who has been lingering in the hallway, rushes in, sensing that the confrontation has begun. Please, she pleads softly, let's not do this like. Like what, mother? Victoria snaps. Like adults? Like a family that actually faces the truth? She turns back to Victor, her eyes blazing. You always told us that the Newman name stood for integrity, for strength, for loyalty, but all it really stands for is control. You destroyed everything to protect your legacy, and now the truth has finally caught up with you. Victor stands, his voice rising like thunder. I did what I had to do to protect you, he bellows. Cole was unstable, he was reckless. He wanted to take you away from everything, from your family, from your life here. I couldn't let that happen. Protect me? Victoria cries. By stealing my baby? By lying to me for decades? I didn't steal your baby, Victor growls. I made a choice that you were too young to understand. The doctor told us she didn't survive. I only later found out that Cole had arranged something dangerous, and I did what was necessary to prevent more pain. Necessary? Victoria repeats bitterly. You're saying that lying about a living child was necessary? Victor's voice lowers, a rare hint of guilt creeping in. I thought it was for the best, he admits. You were broken after the loss. You were barely functioning. I couldn't risk the truth destroying you completely. Victoria stares at him, tears of rage and heartbreak glistening in her eyes. You didn't do it for me, she whispers. You did it for yourself, for your control, your power, your image as the great Victor Newman who always knows best. She shoves the letter toward him. Well, now you can read what Cole thought about your kind of protection. He left this for me because he knew the truth would come out. He believed I deserved to know who I really lost. Victor doesn't touch the letter. Instead, he looks away, his expression unreadable. Nikki steps between them, her hands trembling. Victoria, please, she begs. Your father's made mistakes, but he loves you. Victoria's laugh is hollow. Love? Is that what we're calling this now? Because it looks a lot more like manipulation and control than love to me. She takes a deep breath, her voice trembling. Cole's letter said that someone else helped him, someone close to me. Was it true? Was Nick part of it? Victor stiffens, but the faint flicker of recognition in his eyes gives him away. Don't, Victoria whispers, shaking her head. Don't tell me my brother helped you lie to me. He didn't know everything, Victor says quickly. He was young, scared. I made him promise not to say anything. He thought he was protecting you. Victoria's breath catches in her throat. You made my brother carry your guilt for decades, she says softly, her voice trembling with disgust. You've poisoned every relationship in this family, and now you expect me to forgive you? Before Victor can answer, the sound of footsteps echoes through the hallway. Nick enters, his face pale and drawn. He's already heard enough. She deserves to know, he says quietly. Victoria whirls around to face him. So it's true, she whispers. You knew. Nick's voice cracks. Vic, I swear, I thought I was doing the right thing. Dad told me the truth would destroy you, that Cole was going to take the baby and disappear. I was just a kid. I didn't know what to believe. You could have told me later, Victoria cries. You could have said something. Every time I mourned that child, every time I blamed myself, you stood there and said nothing. Nick's eyes fill with tears. I was scared. I thought if I said anything, Dad would cut me out, destroy everything. You know what he's like when he wants to protect the family name. The family name, Victoria repeats bitterly. That's all any of you ever cared about. She takes a step back, shaking her head. You let me live a lie, Nick. You watched me suffer and said nothing. You're just as guilty. Don't you say that. Victor snaps, stepping forward. Your brother did what I asked. If you want to blame someone, blame me. I do. Victoria shouts. I blame you for everything. For ruining Cole's life, for stealing my child, for destroying any chance we had at happiness. You made yourself judge and jury over our lives, and for what? To protect a name that means nothing anymore? Nikki, crying now, tries to reach for her daughter, but Victoria pulls away. I can't be here, she says through tears. I can't even look at you. She turns and storms out of the study, leaving the letter on Victor's desk. The sound of the door slamming echoes like a gunshot through the mansion. At Newman Enterprises, Claire sits alone in her office, staring blankly at her reflection in the glass wall. Her entire sense of identity has been obliterated. Catherine Cole. The name still feels foreign on her tongue. The daughter of Cole and another woman, not Victoria's child, not a